A very big welcome to my office, and I am so privileged to have Wayburn Dean. You know, you're one of the first people to actually come and visit me in my office. I'm just saying.
It's a great space. It's
Yeah.
a great space.
Yeah.
I can see productivity here, Wendell.
Do you kind of feel that vibe when you walk in?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
No, it is great. It is great to have you here, and it's just great to chat. And we just wanted to kind of give programmers and anyone else listening to this, I don't know what we're calling this, our little video podcast, whatever term we want to use these days, just an update on your ministry and what's going on. And of course, we have the song "Never Give Up on You" that is currently making some really good impacts at radio. But you want to give us a little update on what's been going on in your life and ministry?
Boy, I tell you, there's been a lot. There's been a lot in terms of ministry. I'm excited about what God is doing. Specifically, our single "Never Give Up on You" is one that we're excited about. The message is a message of Christ. It's a message of hope. You know, Jesus himself said, "I will never leave you nor forsake you."
Right.
And because of that, that's the crux of the message in the song.
Right.
I'll never give up on you. And there are many people that are struggling in families.
Sure.
Within families that have, and as I think about the answer to those struggles is a love message that I'm never going to give up on you.
Right.
Which is a message of Christ.
And the song really kind of has two parts, right?
It does. It does. The first half of the song is really experiential to our human nature.
Right.
And as we travel the country, we hear many stories from individuals. My son is lost on drugs, but I'm never going to give up on him. My mother has Alzheimer's. She's dying. It's a struggle to take care of her, but I'm never going to give up on her.
Right.
And so it's a message of hope. And then the second half of the song is what we talked about earlier. It's the message of Christ that I will never give up on you. I'll never leave you nor forsake you.
Right. Well, you think about the prodigal son, for instance. You know, the father, in his love, lets him go off.
Absolutely.
Even probably knowing down deep inside his son was going to get into some trouble.
Exactly.
His son got into some trouble.
Yeah.
And in a sense, the father let him go physically. He kind of let him go do whatever he was going to do, and yet he never gave up on him because you know that every day he's watching down the road, watching for his son to come home, because that's the only reason that when Scripture says he saw him coming far off, he had to be watching.
Exactly.
And he didn't know what day he was going to come back.
And if he would have given up on him, he wouldn't have accepted him back.
Right.
And the fact that not only did he accept him back, he rejoiced when he saw him coming back.
Right.
And so he never gave up. And I think Jesus is the same way with us.
Yeah, I think we always need reminded of that message. I know that's a message that has been done in various ways, different songs, different sermons, or whatever it might be, but we're kind of hard-headed sometimes.
That's for sure.
We forget.
Oh yeah, we forget the message. And I think too, as you're going through it, if you're the person and you feel like that someone's given up on you, you give up, and then there's hopelessness that. But if because we talk to people all the time that says, you know what, my son is lost. He's lost in the world. He doesn't know, but he knows that I love him. He knows that I love him. If that doesn't happen, and we visit prisons all the time, when that kind of hopelessness lands them where they are, because they don't feel like anybody cares.
And we want to talk more about your prison ministry in a moment, but speak about that a little bit more, because really this song, in a lot of ways, and I know your wife Janae, when she's writing the lyric, a lot of it was inspired by what you've seen in prisons, both from the prisoners and then knowing that hope that Christ can bring.
Indeed. One of the things that prisoners is universal, I think, in prison and with prisoners is they feel like oftentimes that they don't belong. They don't belong to themselves. They don't belong to family. They don't belong to society. They simply don't belong. And that kind of feeling is one of hopelessness. And we've witnessed this in prisons. And as we go into the prisons, and we feel that kind of hopelessness because it's told us. I just feel like there's no hope. Nobody cares. Janae and I, when we wrote the song and when we go into the prisons, we're able to sing the song. We let them know that we're never going to give up on you. And you know what else? Jesus will never give up on you.
Right.
And that brings a small amount of hope. Sometimes a saving grace of hope, that much, makes a difference in the lives of these individuals. And it's that knowledge of knowing
Right.
that somebody cares and they're not going to give up on me. Because they give up on themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're looking out over the audience and you're singing this in a prison, what do you see on their faces? What's going on there?
It's really interesting because I've been able to actually witness the saving grace during the course of a song. And this is one of those songs.
Right.
Because I see a downcast face, a downcast position, a disposition of just hopelessness. And then pretty soon, you actually physically see them sit up like this. And then they're paying attention. And then pretty soon their hands are like this, and then pretty soon their hands are raised. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's all rooted in that kind of hope that somebody cares and they're not going to give up on me.
It's almost like that song, God uses to open the floodgates of His Spirit to come in and just touch them in a powerful way.
Absolutely.
Which is the uniqueness of music. It takes down a lot of those barriers, a lot of that stuff. And I've had the privilege of watching some of this on a couple of occasions, and it's just really, really
powerful. That was indeed a pleasure to have you come into the prison. It's kind of intimidating.
Well, I was hoping you'd let me play my kazoo, and you put the kibosh on that. I'm not sure what that was all about, but no, it really was an awesome experience. In terms of Never Give Up on You, one thing that drew me into this song when I first heard it, there's that keyboard at the very beginning. And, music has a way of emoting emotion. I mean, that's why it's powerful. That's why it's powerful, and that's why God can use it in a prison setting.
Right.
But there's something about that intro that just kind of grabs my heart. Was that purposeful? Or
it was, indeed. There's an ethereal keypad that's got this mysterious kind of feel to it. Because oftentimes, and it was rooted in that message from the prison, that there's this dark, deep place where the emotions of many prisoners are. And during the chorus of the song, it lifts the message that I'll never give up on you. But yeah, that was intentional to actually paint a picture that there are people in dark places, hopeless places,
right.
And then musically at the chorus it begins to change, as a source of hope.
But you mentioned something interesting, and this is nothing profound necessarily, but music, like any art form, but music paints a picture.
It does.
It's not just something you hear.
No, and I think that's all designed from the studio. We plan to take a person's mind from one place to another. And I think that's the message of all artists. We try to paint the picture that Christ would paint. And in this song, the message of hope.
We've been so thankful for each programmer so far that's added the song. It's been on the most added list several times on Billboard, continues to gain momentum. But for any programmer right now who has listened, maybe they just haven't made a decision yet, what would you want to just share with them your heart about this song and why you would really hope for them to play it? And it's not about another top 10 song, been there, done that, but it's about this song.
Indeed. I think the message of this song, I think, is, again, it's universal. And you can almost apply to every family because we all go through challenges, we all go through difficulty, and many, some are greater than others. But the truth is, with the knowledge that Jesus Christ is there for us, and He said, I will never forsake you, and I will never leave you. That is a message of hope that we all need to hear. I think all of us need to hear. None of us are in a place of satisfaction. If we are, then we're in the wrong place as Christians, because the truth is we need to be dependent upon that promise as Christians. We need to depend upon the fact that Jesus said to us, I will never leave you and I will never forsake you. And as Christians, that's our hope for the next day and for the balance of our lives.
Right. And if our goal, and I'll even go back to my days as a programmer, if my goal was to present songs that have, it's a way of presenting Scripture, the truth and the hope and the promise of Scripture of what Christ said through song, is a great way of doing it.
Absolutely. I think otherwise we're hopeless.
Yeah.
I mean, He died on the cross for that kind of hope, for that I'll never leave you message.
Absolutely.